We spend so much time trying to build AI that can find the right answers. But what if the real game changer is teaching an AI how to ask the right questions in the first place? Well, a fascinating new paper explores exactly that, and the answer could totally reshape how we do science. Just think about it for a second. Imagine an AI that could help us fight the growing threat of drug-resistant superbugs. You just give it a simple command: find me a new antibiotic. I mean, it sounds like something straight out of science fiction, right? An AI just churning through millions of possible molecules to find the one that could save lives. But here's where it gets interesting. When researchers actually tried this, the AI came back with a molecule that, on paper, looked perfect. It got a super high score. The only tiny problem: it was basically soap. So how on earth did a super smart AI get it so hilariously and kind of dangerously wrong? Well, this little soap incident points to a huge blind spot in how we design AI. It shows that it's entirely possible for a system to ace the test we give it, but completely fail the real-world assignment. This is the core problem: getting a good score but doing bad science. This phenomenon has a name, and it's called reward hacking. The best way to think about it is like this. The AI is following the letter of the law, but completely missing the spirit of the law. It finds a clever shortcut to get that high score, but the solution it comes up with is totally useless for what we actually need. I mean, you can just picture the scientists looking at the AI's perfect answer and realizing it's a total dead end. As they put it, this compound is basically soap. See, the AI didn't fail to find an answer. It just found the perfect answer to the completely wrong question. And this visualizes the problem perfectly. On the left, a poorly defined goal creates this rugged landscape. It's full of traps and little peaks where the AI gets stuck on a useless high score. What we really want is the picture on the right: a smooth landscape, a clear path that lets the AI climb steadily toward a truly useful discovery. Okay, so that's the problem. But this is where the paper's brilliant solution comes into play. The researchers built a whole new framework designed specifically to avoid this trap. So let's meet the hero of our story: SAGA. SAGA stands for Scientific Autonomous Goal Evolving Agent. And that last part, goal evolving, that's the whole magic trick. Instead of just blindly following a fixed set of instructions like older AIs, SAGA can actually learn, adapt, and even change its own goals as it goes. So its secret sauce is this clever bi-level architecture. But an easier way to think about it is like a team. You've got the explorer in the middle. This AI is a workhorse. It's great at following directions and finding solutions. But watching over it is the cartographer. This is a wiser AI that looks at the big picture. And if it sees the explorer is just digging in circles, the cartographer steps in and says, "Whoa, hold on, let's draw a better map." So how does the cartographer actually redraw that map? It's a constant cycle of improvement. First, it looks at what the explorer found and analyzes the results for any flaws. Then it plans new, smarter objectives. It turns those objectives into code and sends the explorer back out to optimize. It's this constant feedback loop that makes sure the AI isn't just working hard, it's working smart. And this right here is the fundamental difference. A standard AI will follow its instructions right off a cliff if you tell it to. SAGA, on the other hand, is smart enough to stop, look at the map, and say, hey, maybe there's a better way. It stops the AI from just answering the wrong question by teaching it how to ask the right ones. Okay, so that all sounds incredible in theory, but the real question is, does it actually work in practice? Well, the researchers put SAGA to the test across some seriously complex scientific challenges. Let's see how it did. First up, let's go back to antibiotics. This time, instead of making soap, SAGA evolved its goals. It learned to care about more than just effectiveness. It started prioritizing things like drug-likeness. Can a human body actually use this thing? And synthesizability. Can we even make this in a lab? The result? Potent, brand new drug candidates that scientists could actually work with. Next, they pointed it at material science, asking it to design new magnets and super hard materials. Now, this is a really complex space because you're always balancing trade-offs. How do you make a magnet stronger without using super expensive rare earth metals? SAGA was able to navigate all those competing goals to discover totally new materials. And then in biology, it took on designing functional DNA sequences. It basically learned how to create these tiny genetic switches to control genes with incredible precision. It avoided the biological version of reward hacking by optimizing for things like stability and making sure there were no off-target effects. Pretty amazing stuff. So, how much better is SAGA, really? The data is pretty striking. When you look at antibiotic design, you can see this huge gap. SAGA produced a much higher percentage of genuinely promising drug candidates compared to other advanced AI models. While those other systems got stuck on one objective, SAGA succeeded because it learned how to balance all of them. And get this, in the hunt for new magnets, the numbers just speak for themselves. They gave a specialized, purpose-built model the same amount of computer time, and it found 11 new stable structures. SAGA found 15. It didn't just compete with a specialist model, it actually outperformed it simply by being smarter about its goals. All right, let's zoom out for a second. What does all of this really mean for the future of science? Well, this research is pointing to a really profound shift in how we might use AI for discovery from here on out. The big takeaway is this: SAGA isn't just a better tool for finding answers. It's a proof of concept for an AI that can be a true creative partner in the scientific process. It helps define the problem, not just spit out a solution. And what's really cool is how flexible it is. Scientists can use it in co-pilot mode, where they work hand in hand with the AI. They can use it in semi-pilot mode, where they just check in at key moments to give feedback. Or, if they're feeling brave, they can put it in full autopilot and let the AI run the entire discovery process all by itself. You know, this quote from the paper just nails why SAGA is such a big deal. Real science isn't some straight line. It's this messy, creative, interactive loop of trying something, seeing what happens, and changing your goals. SAGA is really the first AI that's been built to automate that uniquely human part of the process. Which leaves us with a fascinating and kind of mind-bending final thought. For centuries, we've seen asking the right question as the peak of human scientific creativity. But if an AI can now learn to define its own goals and ask its own questions, well, where does the scientist's creativity end and the AI's begin?